Hello class, my name is Sierra Jackson and my final presentation will be on Faith Ringgold, and I wanted to highlight her impact on feminism as an African American woman artist. And I will be mainly talking about how her artwork impacted the civil rights and the feminist movement. Alright, so here is a little overview of Faith Ringgold herself. Ringgold was born in Harlem, New York, and she was also raised in Harlem as well. She was born on October 8th, 1930, but she died actually just last year, April 13th, 2024, in Englewood, New Jersey. Faith is known for her innovative quilted narrations, and she wanted to always be an artist since high school. She studied at the City College of New York, and Faith was very active in the Black arts movement and the feminist art movement. By the 1960s, Ringgold's work had matured with reflecting on her political awareness, and her art addresses both racial and gender equality, especially highlighting unique experiences of Black women. And I'm mainly going to be talking about two series, which is her American People series, which was kind of like, her start, her earlier works. And I'm also going to be talking about her French Collection series as well, which is definitely like a later works, and that's more of like the quilted narrations. And her artwork is overall inspired by the civil rights and the feminist movement. And I will be definitely highlighting about the two series that I have said I would be talking about today. And the American People series was a direct response to the civil rights and feminist movement. So I'll be diving into that today. Alright, so the first series I'm going to be talking about is the American People series. In 1963, Faith started to work on the American People series. I have chosen two artworks to talk about today. One is to the left is called The Flag is Bleeding, which was made in 1971, and on the right is called Die, which was made in 1967. These painting style is inspired by the post-Cubanist art, pop art, and traditional African sculpture. And these paintings display Black and white men and women and rich and poor all grouped together. And the series overall explores the themes of race, gender, and social injustice, as we see in both of these paintings how they use bold colors to convey the reality and the resistance of marginalized communities. As we see in The Flag is Bleeding on the left over here, how we see that there is blood all over the American flag, and we see, the Black man on the very left, white woman in the middle, and the white man on the right. We just see like this bloody American flag. It just shows how divided we were back, like especially during that era. And this is like, this is a direct response to the civil rights movement and what was going on and all the violence that was just going on during that era. And as we see on the right with Die, which honestly, like, I love this painting. It depicts both Black and white figures, as we can see both Black and white men and women. It looks like they're just like in a chaotic like scene, and it's of wounding and dying figures, as we can see. Like, it's just all bloody, and everyone's just so bloody and so violent. Everyone's attacking each other. You see like this woman's holding this baby, and it looks like these two children are like sitting down crying and stuff, just like of what is going on in the world. And Die is like a good example of echoing the violence and conflict during that era. So this next series that I will be talking about by Faith Ringgold is the French Collection. And the French Collection has a total of 12 quilts, and there's two parts to the series, and there's 8 in part 1 and 4 in part 2. I will only be talking about mainly 3 of her story quotes today, and just highlighting like 3 of them, and just really talking about the paintings overall and how it inspired the feminist art movement, especially for Black women. So this series is about a young African American woman, and it is a protagonist named Willia Marie Simone. Faith Ringwald made the character up herself, and this character, Willia, she goes to Paris in the 1920s to study art. And Faith describes Willia's story as a fantasy, a surreal meditation on things we've never done but would have liked to have done. And wasn't obviously, we wouldn't really be seeing like Black people, like, or especially Black women, go out and go to Paris to study art in Paris. And it's just like that would be like a big huge deal. And this series is just like, it just explores themes related to being a woman artist, especially as an African American woman artist. And through this, we really see the perspective of Willia, and Ringwald wants to showcase that women could be the speaking subjects of their own lives rather than being models or muses. And as we see, Willia is supposed to be that powerful Black artist figure that we want to be inspired by. We want to be the speaking subjects of our own lives. We want to be something. We want to showcase something. We want to be something. And that's what Ringwald wants to show us through Willia, her character. And as we see on the left, the painting I have presented is one of Faith Ringwald's most notable artists, in my opinion. It's called Dancing at the Louvre. I actually did talk about this one in the Who is Feminism For discussion post. This painting depicts the 3 daughters of Willia's friend, Marcia, I believe that's how you pronounce her name, and then all five of them are dancing inside the Louvre in front of the Mona Lisa painting. And this painting symbolizes how Black people, weren't allowed to be in those establishments or spaces. But however, in this painting, we see that Faith is changing the narrative to a different reality where people of color are allowed to be free, in these spaces just as much as anyone else, and could just be comfortable. As we could see in this painting, everyone just looks so free and just so relaxed, and almost that they have nothing to worry about. Alright, so this next slide is I'm going to be talking about 2 of her other artworks from her French collection series. And the first painting on the right is titled The Picnic at Giverny. The Picnic at Giverny. This painting shows a group of contemporary feminists who are all sitting down with their clothes on in Monet's garden, which we see Pablo Picasso sitting on the left corner nude. This painting changed the narration of the original painting by Monet called The Luncheon on the Grass, where there was 2 men sitting fully clothed with a nude woman staring inside the viewer's eye. And this painting shows a woman's freedom to paint like a woman, where they aren't objectified and they're just living within their own skin. And as we see the second painting on the right, it is called The Sunflower Quilting Bee at Arles. And the second artwork, this work depicts a group of historically influential African American women meeting at a sunflower field at Arles. And on the right is the famous Vincent van Gogh himself. And these flowers in the painting are a direct reference to Van Gogh's flowers in his paintings. And Ringwald uses Van Gogh in this painting to highlight the absence of African American women, especially the historical figures. So this is the painting that I was talking about in the previous slide. That was the Picnic at Giverny changed the narration of how we see, you know, the woman is sitting on the grass and she's fully naked, and these two men are fully clothed. But as we see at the picnic at Giverny, the painting it shows a group of women, like feminists, like contemporary feminist artists. They're sitting with all their clothes on, not being objectified, not for the male gaze. They're just like painting for themselves, simply just enjoying themselves. But as we see the woman in this photo, she's, staring into the viewer's eye. She's fully naked. She has no clothes on. And this is, we see how Faith Ringgold kind of, she did change the narration to show how women aren't objectified, rather than here, as we could see, clearly this is, like for the male gaze viewer, and how she is being objectified. But, like Ringgold changed like the complete, narration, as we see like women like are not being objectified. They're just like simply just existing, and they're just simply all like, all contemporary feminists just together, enjoying each other's company, enjoying art. So this slide, I will be highlighting a quote that Faith Ringgold said that really has inspired me. "I don't feel restricted by being female any more than I feel restricted by being Black or being American. These are the facts of my life. It is powerful to know who you are. The restriction comes in not knowing." And this, this quote, it really highlights that Faith really doesn't perceive their gender, race, or nationality as limitations or sources of restriction. These are simply just, this is just simply her aspects of her identity, and it is who she is. And this quote, it just symbolizes to me how just like be who you are, like it is powerful to know who you are, and who you are is important. And as long as you you be who you are, there's no one, no one can stop you. And I find this quote just to be very powerful and impactful. Alright, so Faith Ringgold's impact. So she made an impact on feminism through her powerful artworks, especially the artworks that I have highlighted, especially the French collection, and especially the American People series as well, where she is like, it was a direct response to the civil rights and to the feminist movement. And another impact, of course, showcasing her activism inside her artwork. We see, of course, like with the American People series, what was going on, like, back in the day with all the violence that was happening between everybody, and just the division and the crazy violence. Also, another impact, showcasing experiences of Black women through her art, as we see with the French collection series that I've shared. And her role in the feminist movement by advocating for the inclusion and recognition of Black female artists as well. So here are my citations and resources that I've used. And thank you everybody for listening to my final presentation. I had very fun exploring more of Faith Ringgold and her impact on feminism and the civil rights movement. And I really enjoyed talking more about her and how impactful that she really was.